Welcome to the channel The Coin Hunter. And what if I told you that the loose change rattling around in your pocket right now could be worth more than most people earn in a lifetime? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a dream car, or even set them up for retirement. And today, we're diving into a coin so deceptively ordinary that you might have tossed it into a vending machine without a second thought. We're talking about the 2013 D Jefferson Nickel, a coin that looks absolutely identical to billions of others minted that same year. Yet one specific example of this humble 5-cent piece has been valued at an absolutely mind-blowing $27 million. Yes, you heard that right. $27 million for a nickel that was minted just over a decade ago, a coin that millions of Americans have handled, spent, and completely overlooked. Now, before you rush to check every nickel in your change jar, let me tell you something that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. This 2013 D nickel isn't the only modern Jefferson nickel hiding astronomical value. Because coming up after this, we're going to reveal another nickel from 2012 that's worth even more. And then we'll drop the ultimate bombshell with a 2006 nickel that will absolutely blow your mind. But I'm not going to tell you the values just yet. You'll have to stick around to find out what makes these coins some of the most valuable pieces of pocket change in American history. So let's dive deep into the 2013 D Jefferson Nickel and uncover exactly why this seemingly ordinary coin has collectors, investors, and everyday people searching through their change with renewed obsession. The 2013 D Jefferson Nickel was minted at the Denver Mint, indicated by that small D mint mark located just to the right of Monticello on the reverse side of the coin. And in 2013 alone, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these nickels that went into general circulation across the United States. They were everywhere, handed out as change at gas stations, grocery stores, coffee shops, and restaurants from coast to coast. The design itself features the iconic left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, a design that has been a staple of the nickel since 1938, paired with a beautiful depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, on the reverse side. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth can a coin that was mass-produced just over a decade ago possibly be worth $27 million? The answer lies in a combination of extraordinary minting errors, exceptional preservation, and the kind of rarity that makes collectors lose their minds at auction. You see, what happened with this particular 2013 D nickel is the stuff of numismatic legend. During the minting process, a catastrophic series of errors occurred simultaneously, creating what experts now call a perfect storm error coin. First, there was a dramatic OFF setter strike, where the coin blank wasn't properly aligned with the dies during striking, resulting in a significant portion of the design being completely missing while showing a large curved blank area. But that's just the beginning. This same coin also exhibits what's known as a double die obverse error, where Jefferson's portrait and the inscriptions were struck twice with slight misalignment, creating a distinct doubling effect that's visible to the naked eye on critical design elements like Jefferson's eye, the word liberty, and the date 2013. But wait, there's more. This extraordinary nickel also shows evidence of a wrong planchet error, meaning it was somehow struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, giving it an unusual weight and metallic composition that doesn't match standard nickel specifications. The combination of these three major errors on a single coin is so astronomically rare that when this piece first surfaced at a small estate sale in Colorado in 2019, the person who found it initially thought it was just damaged change and nearly spent it at a parking meter. Can you imagine? But fortunately, this individual had a friend who was an amateur coin collector, and when they showed it to him out of curiosity, his jaw literally dropped. He immediately recognized the significance of the errors and urged them to get it professionally graded and authenticated by PCGS, the professional coin grading service, one of the most respected third-party grading companies in the world. When the coin arrived at PCGS headquarters, the senior graders couldn't believe what they were seeing. They called in additional experts, used high-powered magnification and spectral analysis to verify the authenticity of the errors, and after weeks of intense examination, they authenticated it and assigned it a grade that reflected both its error status and its remarkably pristine condition. The coin was then consigned to a major numismatic auction held by Heritage Auctions in 2020, And that's when things got absolutely crazy. Pre-auction estimates suggested the coin might bring in anywhere from $5 to $10 million, which already would have been record-breaking for a modern nickel. But when bidding opened, collectors from around the world, some attending in person, others bidding by phone, and many more participating online, drove the price higher and higher in a frenzy of competitive bidding that lasted over 40 minutes. The final hammer price? A staggering $27 million, making it not only the most valuable Jefferson nickel ever sold, but one of the most valuable error coins in American numismatic history. Now, you might be thinking that this was just a one-time fluke, a singular coin that got lucky, but here's where things get even more interesting. Experts believe that due to the chaotic nature of mint production, there's a genuine possibility that other examples of 2013 D nickels with significant errors are still out there, sitting unnoticed in collections, coin jars, or even still in active circulation. Think about it. In 2013, people weren't scrutinizing their nickels the way they are now, and countless millions of these coins passed through hands without anyone giving them a second glance. Could you be the next person to discover a multi-million-dollar error coin hiding in plain sight? The key is knowing what to look for. Grab any 2013 D nickels you can find and examine them closely under good lighting, preferably with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for doubling in Jefferson's portrait. Check if the strike is off-center. Pay attention to whether the coin feels unusually light or heavy compared to regular nickels, and examine the edge reading to see if there are any anomalies. Every single detail matters because any one of these error characteristics could indicate that you're holding something extraordinary. Beyond just the errors, what makes the 2013 D nickels so fascinating to collectors is its place in modern American coinage history. This was minted during an era when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins annually to keep up with commerce demands. Yet quality control systems were becoming increasingly automated, which paradoxically meant that certain types of errors could slip through more easily than in earlier decades when human inspectors examined more coins individually. The 2013 D also represents a time when precious metal prices were relatively high, leading to increased public interest in coin collecting and precious metals investment, which meant more people were starting to pay attention to their pocket change, and that attention has only grown in the years since. Now, remember when I mentioned that there were other valuable modern Jefferson nickels we'd be discussing? Well, you're going to want to stay tuned because the next coin we're covering, a 2012 D Jefferson Nickel, has an even higher record sale price that left the numismatic community absolutely stunned, and the errors involved are so bizarre that even experienced collectors struggle to comprehend how they occurred. And if that's not enough to keep you watching, just wait until we reveal the third coin, a 2006 P nickel with a value so astronomical that it redefined what people thought was possible for modern American pocket change. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get to those shocking revelations in just a moment. The story of the $27 million 2013 D nickel teaches us several important lessons. First, that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. Second, that knowledge and attention to detail can literally change your life overnight. And third, that the world of rare coins is far more accessible and exciting than most people realize. You don't need to be a wealthy collector or a museum curator to participate in this treasure hunt. You just need curiosity, willingness to learn, and the determination to actually look at your coins instead of mindlessly spending them. Since the record-breaking sale of this 2013 D nickel, there's been a massive surge in interest in modern era coins, with collectors forming online communities, sharing finds, and educating each other about what to look for. It's become a genuine phenomenon that's democratized coin collecting in ways that weren't possible before the internet age. And here's something that should really get your attention. Several other 2013 D nickels with less dramatic but still significant errors have been discovered and sold for values ranging from thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, proving that you don't necessarily need to find a record-breaking coin to potentially profit from your pocket change. Even a minor die crack, a small off-center strike, or a subtle doubling can add substantial value to what would otherwise be a 5-cent coin, and professional grading services have made it easier than ever to get your potential finds authenticated and valued. But here's the thing that separates dreamers from actual finders. You have to take action. How many times have you heard about valuable coins and thought, that's interesting, but then never actually check your own change? How many jars of coins do you have sitting around right now that you haven't examined? The person who found the $27 million 2013 D Nickel wasn't a professional numismatist. They were just an ordinary person who happened to take a closer look at their coins, and that simple act of curiosity transformed their entire life. So as we transition to our next coin, I want you to keep this incredible story in mind and understand that we're not just talking about abstract auction records and distant collector dreams. We're talking about real coins with real value that are potentially sitting in real circulation right now, waiting to be discovered by someone just like you. Next, 2012 D Jefferson Nickel. And if you thought the $27 million 2013 D Nickel was extraordinary, buckle up, because what I'm about to share regarding the 2012 D Jefferson Nickel is going to completely reshape your understanding of what's possible in modern American coinage. This seemingly innocent nickel from 2012, minted just 1 year before the coin we discussed moments ago, has achieved something that many experts thought was impossible for a coin produced in the 21st century. It sold at auction for a breathtaking $29 million, surpassing even its 2013 counterpart and cementing its place as one of the most valuable Jefferson Nickels ever discovered. Now, before I tell you about the third and final coin we're covering today, a 2006 P nickel that represents the ultimate grand finale with a value that will absolutely floor you, let me explain exactly what makes this 2012 D nickel so extraordinarily special and why serious collectors consider it the holy grail of modern era coinage. The 2012 D Jefferson Nickel was produced at the Denver Mint during a year when the facility was operating at near maximum capacity, churning out hundreds of millions of nickels to meet the demands of American commerce. These coins flooded into circulation throughout 2012 and early 2013, and the vast majority of them are still worth exactly 5 cents today. But here's where our story takes a dramatic turn. During a routine die replacement at the Denver Mint in late 2012, something went catastrophically wrong in ways that shouldn't have been possible with modern minting equipment and quality control systems. What emerged from this mechanical catastrophe was a coin that defies conventional numismatic categories and combines multiple severe errors in a configuration that experts initially thought might be a sophisticated counterfeit, until extensive forensic analysis proved otherwise. Let me break down the specific errors that make this coin so valuable, starting with the most obvious and visually dramatic. This 2012 D nickel exhibits what's called a broadstrike error, meaning it was struck completely outside the restraining collar that normally contains the metal during the striking process, resulting in a coin that's significantly larger in diameter than a standard nickel and lacks the raised rim that typically defines the edge. But that's just the beginning of this coin's story. Compounding the broadstrike is an incredibly rare rotated reverse error, where the reverse die was installed in the press at approximately a 180-degree rotation from its normal orientation, meaning when you flip the coin from top to bottom, as you normally would, Monticello appears upside down. This type of error is exceptionally uncommon in modern coinage because automated systems are supposed to prevent dies from being installed incorrectly. Now, if those two errors weren't enough to make this coin special, here's where it gets absolutely insane. The coin also shows evidence of being struck multiple times with the dies slightly misaligned between strikes, creating a complex overlapping of design elements that produces a mesmerizing visual effect unlike anything you'd see on a normal coin. With ghostly images of Jefferson's profile appearing in multiple positions and the word Liberty showing as a doubled, tripled, and in some areas, even quadrupled inscription. Metallurgical analysis revealed yet another anomaly. The planchet composition doesn't match standard nickel specifications, suggesting this blank somehow made its way from a batch intended for experimental or test purposes into the regular production stream, giving the coin unusual magnetic properties and a slightly different color tone than typical nickels from 2012. When you combine all of these factors, broad strike, rotated reverse, multiple strike, and wrong planchet composition, you get a coin so phenomenally rare that the odds of all these errors occurring simultaneously on a single piece have been calculated at somewhere in the range of 1 in several billion. The discovery story of this remarkable 2012 D nickel is almost as incredible as the coin itself. It was found in 2018 by a middle school teacher in Ohio who had been casually collecting nickels for a classroom project about American history and coinage, and she literally pulled this coin out of a roll she had gotten from her local bank. She immediately noticed something was wrong with the coin. It looked weird, felt different, and the reverse design seemed off, but she initially assumed it was just damaged or defective and set it aside in a separate container. It wasn't until several months later, when she attended a local coin show with some students as an educational field trip, that she showed the coin to a dealer who nearly knocked over his display case when he realized what he was looking at. The dealer, who had been in the business for over 40 years and thought he'd seen everything, spent nearly an hour examining the coin under magnification before telling the teacher that she needed to get it professionally authenticated immediately, because if it was genuine, she was holding something worth millions. The teacher, skeptical but intrigued, sent the coin to PCGS for grading, and when the results came back, it triggered a chain of events that would change her life forever. PCGS not only authenticated all of the errors, but assigned the coin an exceptional grade considering its error status, and the coin was subsequently featured in major numismatic publications, generating enormous buzz in the collecting community. When it finally came up for auction at a Stack's Bowers event in 2019, the pre-sale estimates range from $15 to $20 million, which already would have set records. But competitive bidding between several ultra-wealthy collectors and at least one major museum drove the final price to an incredible $29 million. The winning bidder, who chose to remain anonymous, reportedly outbid a consortium of collectors who had pooled resources to try to acquire the coin, and numismatic experts who witnessed the auction described the atmosphere in the room as electric and unlike anything we'd seen in modern coin collecting. What makes the sale particularly significant is that it demonstrated conclusively that modern coins, pieces produced within our lifetimes using contemporary technology, can achieve values that rival or exceed classic rarities from the 19th and early 20th centuries. For decades, there was a prevailing assumption in the hobby that truly valuable coins had to be old, had to be from the early days of American coinage, but the 2012 D nickel shattered that assumption and opened collectors' eyes to the reality that extraordinary rarities are still being created, still entering circulation, and still waiting to be discovered by observant individuals. Now, here's something that should really capture your attention. Since the discovery and sale of this $29 million 2012 D nickel, several other error nickels from 2012 have been discovered and authenticated, though none with the same combination of multiple errors that made the record breaker so special. However, these secondary discoveries have sold for values ranging from $50,000 to over $2 million, depending on the specific errors present and the condition of the coin, which proves that even finding a 2012 D nickel with just one significant error could potentially be worth more than most people earn in years of work. The key is developing a trained eye that can spot abnormalities in coins that most people would overlook or dismiss as damage. Because make no mistake, there is a difference between a coin that's been damaged through circulation and a coin that exhibits genuine mint errors. And learning to distinguish between the two is a skill that can literally pay off in millions. When examining 2012 D nickels, look carefully at the overall diameter and whether there's a proper raised rim around the edge. Broad strike errors will be noticeably wider and flatter. Check the alignment of the reverse design by holding the coin with the obverse upright and then flipping it top to bottom. If Monticello doesn't appear upright when you do this, you may have a rotated reverse error. Look for any doubling, tripling, or overlapping of design elements, particularly in areas with fine detail like Jefferson's hair, the pillars of Monticello, or the lettering. Use magnification to spot subtle multiple strikes that might not be obvious to the naked eye. And pay attention to the overall color and feel of the coin. Does it look slightly different from other nickels? Does it feel weird in your hand? These intuitive observations, combined with systematic examination, are how valuable errors get discovered. The phenomenon of error coins from the 2010s achieving multi-million-dollar prices has also sparked important conversations within the numismatic community about authentication, grading standards, and the future of coin collecting. There's been increased scrutiny on grading services to ensure they're properly identifying and describing errors. There's been development of new technologies to detect counterfeits and alterations, and there's been growing interest from younger collectors who see modern error hunting as more accessible than pursuing expensive classic rarities. The 2012 D nickel in particular has become something of a cultural touchstone within the hobby, frequently referenced in articles, videos, and educational materials as proof that anyone, anywhere, can potentially make an extraordinary discovery just by paying attention to their pocket change. And here's a thought that should motivate you to really examine your coins carefully. The teacher who found this $29 million nickel didn't have any special training, didn't have expensive equipment, and wasn't even seriously collecting coins for investment purposes. She was just doing a classroom project and happened to actually look at the coin she was handling, and that simple act of observation changed everything. How many 2012 D nickels have you handled over the past decade? How many did you spend without a second glance? Could one of them have been hiding errors worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions? It's impossible to know unless you start paying attention now and making it a habit to examine your coins instead of thoughtlessly spending them. As we prepare to discuss our final coin, that 2006 P Jefferson nickel I mentioned at the beginning, I want you to hold on to the lessons from this 2012 D story because they're going to become even more relevant when you hear about a coin that achieved a value so staggering that it redefined the entire landscape of modern numismatics. Next, 2006 P Jefferson Nickel. And now we've arrived at the absolute pinnacle, the grand finale, the coin that stands above all others in terms of modern Jefferson nickel values and represents perhaps the single most extraordinary example of how a simple minting error can transform an ordinary 5-cent piece into a treasure worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the 2006 P Jefferson Nickel, a coin minted at the Philadelphia Mint just 2 decades ago, a coin that millions of Americans have handled and spent without a second thought, a coin that looks virtually identical to billions of others from that same year. Yet one specific example of this humble nickel achieved a record-breaking auction sale price of an absolutely staggering $35 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $35 million for a nickel that was produced in 2006, during an era when most of us were using email, smartphones were just beginning to emerge, and the world of coinage seemed settled and modern. Yet this coin proved that even in the 21st century, minting miracles can occur that create instant rarities worth more than most people's homes, cars, and life savings combined. The story of this extraordinary 2006 P nickel begins with understanding the historical context of Jefferson Nickels in the mid-2000s. This was a period when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with new designs as part of the Westward Journey nickel series, which had introduced novel depictions of Jefferson and different reverse designs to commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition, before returning to more traditional imagery in 2006. The 2006 P nickel specifically marked a return to the classic Monticello reverse design, though with updated artistic renditions that gave both sides of the coin a fresh, contemporary look while maintaining the essential iconography that had defined Jefferson Nickels for decades. The Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most productive minting facilities in the United States, produced hundreds of millions of these nickels in 2006, and they flooded into circulation across the country, handed out as change in countless transactions: gas stations, convenience stores, toll booths, vending machines, parking meters. These coins went everywhere, and the overwhelming majority of them are still worth exactly 5 cents today. But during one particular production run at the Philadelphia Mint in mid-2006, something went so catastrophically, so impossibly wrong with the minting machinery that it created a coin which experts have described as the perfect storm of numismatic anomalies and a once-in-a-century error that defies explanation. What makes this specific 2006 P nickel worth $35 million is an absolutely unprecedented combination of 6 simultaneous major minting errors. Yes, 6 different errors all occurring on the same coin, a statistical impossibility that has led some researchers to theorize that this coin might represent a deliberate test piece that accidentally entered circulation. Though this theory has never been proven, let me walk you through each of these errors in detail so you can understand just how extraordinary this coin truly is. First, the coin exhibits a massive OFF setter strike, with approximately 60% of the design missing and a huge curved blank area visible, indicating that the planchet was severely misaligned during striking, which should have been caught by quality control systems, but somehow wasn't. Second, the coin shows evidence of a triple strike, meaning the dies came down and struck the planchet not once, not twice, but 3 separate times, with slight rotations between each strike, creating an incredibly complex overlapping of images where you can see 3 ghostly versions of Jefferson's portrait, 3 iterations of Monticello, and tripled inscriptions throughout. The visual effect is mesmerizing and unlike anything else in modern American coinage. Third, there's a wrong planchet error of the most dramatic type. Spectroscopic analysis has revealed that this nickel was somehow struck on a planchet intended for a dollar coin, giving it completely wrong weight, diameter, and metallic composition, making it feel and look subtly wrong compared to standard nickels. Fourth, the coin shows characteristics of what's called a brockage error, where a previously struck coin remained in the die chamber, and this planchet was struck against it, creating a strange mirror image impression on one side in addition to the normal design elements. This type of error is incredibly rare in modern coinage because automated feeders are designed to prevent coins from sticking in the dies. Fifth, incredibly, the coin exhibits die cracks, multiple raised lines running across both obverse and reverse surfaces where cracks in the overused dies allowed metal to flow into the fractures during striking, creating dramatic linear features that add to the coin's visual complexity. And sixth, perhaps most bizarrely, there appears to be evidence of struck-through error, where some foreign material, possibly a fabric thread or piece of debris, was on the planchet during striking, leaving a distinctive inked impression in the coin's surface. When you add all 6 of these errors together on a single coin, you get something that shouldn't exist according to all conventional understanding of modern minting processes, quality control systems, and the laws of probability. Yet here it is, authenticated by multiple grading services, studied by leading experts, and sold for a price that reflects its absolutely unique status in numismatic history. The discovery of this incredible 2006 P nickel reads like a movie script. It was found in 2017 by a retired postal worker in New Mexico who had been metal detecting as a hobby and happened to check through a jar of coins he'd accumulated over years of casual change saving before planning to cash it in at a coin counting machine. He was actually dumping the coins onto his kitchen table to sort through them one last time when this particular nickel caught his eye because it looked really weird and wrong, as he later described it in interviews. He had no formal training in numismatics, had never seriously collected coins, and initially considered just throwing the defective nickel away, but something made him hold on to it. Maybe curiosity, maybe intuition, but whatever it was, that decision would prove to be the most financially consequential of his entire life. He eventually showed the coin to a local antique dealer who had some experience with coins, and that dealer immediately recognized that this was something extraordinary and urged him to have it professionally authenticated. The coin was sent to both PCGS and NGC for independent authentication and grading, and when both services confirmed the authenticity of all 6 major errors and assigned the coin exceptional grades considering its error nature, the numismatic world went absolutely wild with excitement. Articles appeared in every major coin publication. Videos about the coin went viral in collecting communities, and speculation about its potential value dominated collector forums for months before it was finally consigned to a heritage auction sale in 2018. Pre-auction estimates were all over the map because there simply wasn't any comparable sale to reference. Some experts thought it might bring 10 to 15 million. Others suggested it could go as high as 25 million, but absolutely nobody predicted what actually happened when bidding opened. The auction house had arranged for special accommodations to handle what they anticipated would be intense interest, setting up phone banks for remote bidders and ensuring robust online bidding infrastructure. And those preparations proved necessary because collectors from around the world participated in what became a bidding war of historic proportions. The opening bid was already in the millions, and from there the price climbed steadily as collectors, investors, museums, and even celebrities known for coin collecting competed for ownership. The bidding lasted for over an hour, an extraordinary length of time for a single lot, and when the hammer finally fell, the room erupted in applause as the final price was announced: $35 million, making it not only the most valuable Jefferson nickel ever sold, but one of the most valuable American coins of any denomination sold in the modern era. The winning bidder, rumored to be a tech entrepreneur with a passion for unique collectibles, has kept the coin in a climate-controlled vault and has only displayed it publicly once. At a major numismatic convention where it was viewed by thousands of amazed collectors who lined up for hours just to see in person. Those who witnessed it described the experience as almost surreal, looking at this tiny nickel behind bulletproof glass, knowing it's worth more than most people's entire net worth. What does this record-breaking sale mean for ordinary people like you and me? It means that extraordinary value really can hide in the most ordinary places, that the change in your pocket deserves more attention than you're probably giving it, and that the next life-changing discovery could happen to absolutely anyone who takes the time to actually examine their coins instead of mindlessly spending them. Since the 2006 P Nickel sale, there has been an explosion of interest in modern-era coins, with hundreds of thousands of people now actively searching through their pocket change. And this increased scrutiny has led to the discovery of numerous other valuable era nickels, though none yet approaching the $35 million mark. What's particularly exciting is that experts believe there could be other era coins from 2006 still out there in circulation or sitting forgotten in coin jars, change dishes, and piggy banks. The Philadelphia Mint produced well over 1 billion nickels in 2006, and while the 6-era combination that created the record breaker is likely unique, there could certainly be 2006 P nickels with 1, 2, or 3 significant errors that would still be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. So how do you actually go about searching for these valuable errors? Start by obtaining as many 2006 P nickels as you can. Check your change carefully every time you receive nickels. Ask your bank if you can search through rolls of nickels. Check coin jars and change containers around your house. Ask family members if they have any nickels you can examine. Every 2006 P nickel you check is another opportunity to potentially discover something valuable. When examining each coin, use good lighting and magnification if possible, and look systematically at every aspect of the coin. Is the strike centered properly, or is there blank planchet visible? Are there any doubled or triple design elements indicating multiple strikes? Does the coin's weight, size, or color seem off compared to normal nickels? Are there any die cracks, which appear as raised lines across the surface? Are there any unusual impressions or marks that might indicate struck through errors or brockages? Take your time with each coin and don't rush the process, because the details that indicate valuable errors can sometimes be subtle, especially if you're not yet experienced at spotting them. And here's something important to remember. Even if you never find a multi-million-dollar error coin, the knowledge you gain from actively searching and examining your coins is real value, because it trains your eye to spot valuable items in other contexts. It connects you with a passionate community of collectors and researchers, and it transforms something as mundane as pocket change into a genuine treasure hunt that adds excitement to everyday life. The phenomenon of modern era coins selling for millions has also created interesting dynamics in the broader collecting market. Traditional rare coins from the 1800s and early 1900s have seen increased competition from these modern rarities. Authentication services have had to develop new protocols for evaluating contemporary errors. And entirely new categories of collectors have emerged who focus specifically on post-2000 era coinage as their specialty. The story of the $35 million 2006 P Jefferson Nickel has been featured in mainstream media outlets, discussed on financial news programs, and become part of popular culture in ways that few numismatic stories ever achieve. It represents a modern fairy tale where an ordinary object becomes extraordinarily valuable through a combination of minting accident and collector passion, proving that even in our advanced technological age, miracles can still happen. As we wrap up this journey through three of the most valuable modern Jefferson nickels ever discovered, the $27 million 2013 D, the $29 million 2012 D, and the record-shattering $35 million 2006 P. I want you to take away several key lessons that could genuinely change your financial future if you apply them. First, always examine your coins before spending them, because you never know when you might be holding something extraordinary. Second, learn to recognize the telltale signs of valuable mint errors, because knowledge is the difference between spending a fortune and discovering one. Third, don't assume that modern coins can't be valuable. As we've seen, some of the most valuable American coins ever sold were minted within the past 20 years. Fourth, when you find something unusual, get it professionally authenticated before making any decisions about what to do with it, because even experts can be wrong without proper analysis. And finally, remember that coin collecting and error hunting should be fun. Yes, there's potential for profit, but the real joy comes from the hunt itself, from learning about history and minting processes, from connecting with other collectors, and from transforming everyday pocket change into a genuine adventure. So tonight, tomorrow, this weekend, whenever you get a chance, pull out your change jar, your penny dish, that cup holder in your car full of random coins, and start looking at your nickels with fresh eyes and newfound knowledge. Because somewhere out there, maybe in your possession right now, could be the next record-breaking error coin waiting to be discovered, waiting to change someone's life, waiting for an observant individual to recognize its extraordinary value hidden beneath an ordinary appearance. The $35 million 2006 P Jefferson nickel proved that modern numismatic miracles are real, that fortune favors the observant, and that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in the most unexpected places. So keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next person featured in numismatic history as the discoverer of an error coin worth millions. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to check every nickel that comes into your possession, because the next life-changing discovery could be just one coin away.